Have you ever noticed how some people actually feel peaceful when they are alone, not sad, not lonely, not angry at the world, just calm, like they finally took off heavy shoes after walking all day? And maybe you are that person. Or maybe you know someone like that. Someone who cancels plans without guilt, who enjoys quiet evenings, who sits in a room with no noise and somehow feels full instead of empty. And right beside you is mindbuddy, that simple round face with small black eyes and a tiny line mouth, standing quietly, looking at you with a soft thinking expression. Because mindbuddy understands something important. Being alone and feeling lonely are not the same thing. And most people confuse the two. But today we are going to gently understand the psychology of people who truly enjoy being alone. Not because they hate others. Not because they are broken. But because their inner world feels safe and interesting to them. Maybe you remember a time when everyone was talking loudly at a gathering. Laughing. Moving from one conversation to another. And you felt tired instead of excited. You smiled. You tried. But inside you just wanted a quiet corner. And when you finally got home, closed your door, and sat on your bed, you felt relief. Like your brain could finally breathe. And mindbuddy's little mouth turns into a small calm line. Not sad. Not happy. Just peaceful. Because for some people, social interaction feels like using a lot of energy. And being alone feels like recharging. Just like a phone that needs to be plugged in. It is not broken. It just needs quiet to refill. People who enjoy being alone often have rich inner conversations. They think deeply. They replay moments. They imagine future scenarios. They ask themselves questions like, why did I feel that way? What do I really want? What matters to me? And instead of being scared of those thoughts, they are curious about them. Mindbuddy now has a thinking expression. Small eyes focused, tiny line, mouth slightly curved. Because being alone gives space to understand yourself, and self-understanding feels powerful. It feels safe. It feels grounding. Sometimes people assume that someone who enjoys being alone must be shy or socially awkward, but that is not always true. Many of them can talk well, laugh well, even lead groups, but after that, they need space, not because they dislike people, but because their mind processes deeply. And deep processing needs quiet. Imagine your brain like a room. If too many voices enter at once, it gets crowded. But when the room is empty, you can finally organize everything neatly. And that neatness feels satisfying. Mindbuddy looks a little tired now. Small eyes drooping. Because constantly being around noise can feel overwhelming. Especially for people who are sensitive to emotions, tones, and subtle changes in behavior. They notice small shifts. Small facial expressions, small tensions in conversations, and that awareness is beautiful, but it is also exhausting, so being alone becomes their way of protecting their energy, like gently closing a window during a storm. There is also something else. People who enjoy being alone often feel comfortable with themselves, and this comfort does not happen by accident. It grows slowly. Maybe they learned early that they cannot always rely on others for emotional support. So they built a strong inner support system. Maybe they discovered hobbies that make them feel alive. Like reading, drawing, coding, walking, listening to music, or simply thinking. And over time, their own company stopped feeling boring. And started feeling meaningful. And mindbuddy now has a soft, happy expression. Because when you enjoy your own presence, you are not desperate for constant distraction. Think about weekends. Some people panic if they have no plans. They scroll endlessly. They call random people. They feel restless. But someone who enjoys being alone might wake up slowly, make tea, sit by a window, and feel completely okay with the silence. Because sometimes, the greatest peace comes from simply being with yourself, and mindbuddy quietly reminds you of that.